Hello, everybody. Happy April 12th, 2020. My name is Christopher Saunders. Happy Easter and Passover to everybody out there watching on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and all other social media platforms. This is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And today we have a special guest, the head coach for Bunnell Boys Basketball, Dannie Powell. Coach Powell, thanks so much for being able to come on today.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
No problem. And first off, got to ask, how's your Easter going?
It's going great. Came to my mom's house, eating some food, so finally get out the house a little bit. So I'm happy. Good Easter. Good Easter.
So I take it that you're surviving the quarantine a little bit better than most.
You know what? I'm actually fine. I get a chance, I don't get a chance to go to the gym, but I'm running and reading a couple books. And actually what's good is they're doing a coaching seminar online, virtual coaching clinic. So I've been watching those and I'm good. I'm okay. I'm all right.
You seem like you're nice, it doesn't seem like the quarantine's affecting you at all. You're just letting it flow, going with the flow.
Nah, I mean, I figure if we stay in the house and do our part, then we'll get back to what we want to do. Kids get to play their sport. AU season get to start, but we got to stay inside. So do our part, we'll be good to go.
Now, before we get into the season, because there's a lot to kind of go over, have you been able now, because of this quarantine, sit back and kind of reflect on what was the 2019-2020 boys basketball season?
Yeah, like throughout the year, I take notes on different parts, like different things throughout the season, things I want to work on for next year and whatnot. So I sat down and reviewed those notes, and I know what I want to do going into next season and what I need to improve on, whatnot as a coach.
And looking at last season, you went 8-12. You were in Division II, which was a very tough division if the state playoffs were to continue. Naugatuck being one of those teams that maybe you could have seen down the line. But considering what was a tough year, you had 3 separate losing streaks, a 3-game and then 2 4-game losing streaks. There seemed to be some growing pains with a team that a couple years ago did make a run in the state playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we lost a Division I player, and whenever you lose a player like that in high school, you have to adapt. For us, I knew early on we would have to learn ourselves. Players have to learn their role and learn what they have to do. We lost like 6 or 7 games by a total of 4 points. All our guys never had the ball late in the game or never had to make a play or never, had to make that big shot. So for this year, this is the year they had to do it. So they were learning. So we took some early losses and we took some late. And as you know, when you lose, it kind of, high school kids' emotion and whatnot, it kind of compounds. But it happened. The kids came in with a good attitude, kept playing hard. But it was a more learning experience for me as well. So I'll learn from it and grow for next year.
What was the one thing in particular that you saw the kids learn from early in the season that maybe they were making mistakes to the end of the season where it looked like they made the proper corrections?
Well, we needed to beat Newtown at the end of, I think it was our last game of the season. Yeah, their senior night. And to get into SWCZ and to get in the States. And I think from early on in the year, everyone thought they were that guy. Everyone felt like they can make the play. Everyone felt like I needed to make the play. Instead of letting basketball make the play. I thought like towards the end of the season, we trusted one another a little more. We trusted one another. We moved the ball and we let the defense, if it was a mistake on the defensive end, we found the right guy and made the play that way. We didn't try to force nothing or, try to make something happen that's not there. We let the play develop. So I thought we learned to trust one another better.
Well, I'm glad that that you mentioned that because you had a lot of quotes throughout the season, and I read quite a few of them. But there was one in particular that I really liked, and it was after a loss earlier in the season. You said, "Right now we are trying to find ourselves. We have to do more collectively rather than individually." And I have to tell you, I love that quote because you're speaking to how you basically are asking for them to be a team. They're trying to be their own player rather than being one.
Right. For us, I mean, before it was just like, well, let us do our part, and then Max at the time will, get the shot or whatnot, or make the play. I won't say get the shot, but make the play. And I think the pressure of like him not being there, everyone felt like I'm a senior, I have to make the play, and part of that was my fault. I thought I could have did a better job of getting the guys together a little bit more, doing more team off the court things before the season and early on in the season to get us to trust one another. So that's one thing I'm concentrating on going into next year.
Now, you talk about the 6 seniors. Yeah. One of them was Tyler Staggs, a two-way star, going to play football at Bentley. But there was another player that you felt really kind of came along, Kevin Lanham. Describe him a little bit, but also just the senior class in and of itself.
The senior class, it was a good senior class. I was really excited going into this year. I thought we were going to have a really good year. Last year, they just played so hard. No one cared about who scored what. They just competed from the beginning to end. And they competed and they played hard this year as well. And I'm proud that they fought. I'm proud that they had the opportunity to make the SWC championship and defend the title and also, make states, even though we didn't get to play. But I'm glad of their effort and how they, competed. Kevin will be 1,000-point scorer next year. He has some big games. One game he put up like 38 or 40 points, I think, against New Fairfield. He can really score the ball. He's getting better at the on the defensive end, and he can play the 1 or the 2. He can, but we use him as a 2. Next year he might play a little more of the point, but he can really score. And I think if he really works this summer, I think he could be a Division 2 player.
Now, why? Typically, when you think about a player, Division 3, Division 2, Division 1, there's reasons why each player is set to be, you would think, at each level. What sets him apart from, let's say, a Division 3 athlete, or what does he have to improve on to get to maybe Division 1 status?
Just being more assertive. Like, if he can play the point, if he can show that he can play the point, then I think he has a chance. Or if he does a prep year, he can really get to the basket. He can find his shot. He has a lot of moves to get a shot off. He can shoot the 3. He has a lot of moves to get the shot off. But this year was more so him finding himself and learning his game. Obviously he done it in practice last year. He had moments last year, and but this year was more so finding himself and being more assertive. Next year he'll have a big year, a really big year, where the state will know who he is. So.
And speaking of, the next season, Kevin Lanham, one of the future players that I would envision being talked about a lot for Bunnell. Can you give maybe a couple other players that maybe people should look out for?
We have a sophomore he'll be a junior next year, Andrew. He was from Stratford. He went to St. Joe's, and then he came back to Bunnell. He had to, sit out this year. But he's like 6'4", very athletic. He'll be very helpful for us. Prashant, who ended up starting late in the season, he's hitting the weight room not the weight room, but doing a lot of push-ups and stuff, working on his body to get better. And he'll help us out a lot. And we have some guys that didn't actually play this season, who will be playing next year, who will help us out a lot.
It sounds like there's a lot of talent coming back, but also talent that you're expecting to kind of put forward maybe another good run for the team. Looking at this from a full, circle standpoint, what are you envisioning going into next season? I know it's a long way to go because of the quarantine and whatnot.
I'm looking for a way better. We'll have a much better season than last year. I know the mistakes I made as a coach, and it's not necessarily on the court. I more stuff off the court that I know I have to do. But I'll work. We're going to work on becoming more of a team together, becoming closer, because, any team that has success, they're very close, knit group. And the players know they had a little taste of, playing in the playoffs and whatnot. So they know what to expect, and they're hungry to get back there, and they are disappointed. They don't want to hear that, oh, y'all lost Max and y'all went 8-12, and, We'll be back next year. We'll be back for sure.
Have you been in contact with them since this quarantine? Because the reason why I ask is only because you sound like you're motivated. You could go out right now and go get ready to coach. Are these players understanding that once this is over, because there will be basketball at some point,
Right.
do you think maybe they can, in some ways, use this time as a teaching tool to appreciate that when they become seniors, or maybe even when they're underclassmen, that you have to play every game like it's your last? Because as we saw, it doesn't matter when the season ended when we
Right.
didn't want it to end.
Right. No, but I tell everyone, I said, you don't know when this game gonna end. You can come out and break your leg. I said, God forbid you come out and break your leg. So every game, every practice, everything you do, you got to give it your all. But I think being away from the game, not being able to go to the gym, not being able to practice, not, being able to do what you normally do, motivated them. But I text them and, call them and see how they, first of all, make sure they're doing their work.
That's first and foremost.
You have to be eligible for next year. They don't play that Bunnell, but you have to be eligible for next year. And that's my number one right now, is make sure they're doing their work, but I'm making sure they work on their body.
Mm-hmm.
I know everyone wants to go to LA Fitness and be an LA Fitness star over there and play games and go to the gym. But I say you can air squats, lunges, push-ups, work on your core, ball handling. Every last one of them need to work on ball handling. You can go outside and work on it. So, but they, I check and see how many push-ups and stuff they've been doing. All I can do is trust that with the number that they're giving me. Mm-hmm. And then when we start conditioning and whatnot, we'll find out if they've really been doing it. But they're motivated as well. Only thing I wish I didn't have a chance to do exit meetings. So my expectation for some of the guys and what I want them to work on. But as they get closer to June, I'll start talking to each person individually.
Well, it sounds like Bunnell's in good hands with you, Coach Powell. It seems like you have your eye on the prize. Seems like your intentions are there. The players just have to do their, basically do what they have to do and listen to you.
Well, I just, I got to do my part. I told them, I'm working on getting better as a leader, as a coach, learning how to communicate with different players. So, but also be selfish for the team and you get better. And at the end of the day, we all look ourselves in the mirror and we know what we're really doing and what we're not. So if you do your part individually, collectively, we'll be better. So everyone seems motivated. Everyone, if you ask all those kids who wants to play college basketball, they'll raise their hand. You got to put the work in. You have to.
But like I said, Coach, you're putting in the work. It seems like your heart's in it for the right reasons. Thanks so much for being able to come on. I really do appreciate, during a tough time, during this quarantine, but being able to get away with it for a little bit,
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you doing this. We need this. I follow you a lot, and I watch all your other interviews. So thank you so much for having me on.
No problem, Coach Powell. Once again, thank you for being able to join right here on Connecticut Sports Talent Show. We'll be back again on Monday. We'll have two guests, but I won't say who. I want to keep it for a nice surprise. One will be a coach, I will say, and the other one is a former player for high school football, now going into his freshman year at Anna Maria at quarterback. So keep your mind going there. So until then, have a good day, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Easter and Passover.